Am I the a-hole for cutting off one of my best friends after she betrayed me at my lowest moment? I am L, 22F, and this took place when I was 18 years old. I am a Christian and I went to a Christian high school. This is relevant. Here is some context. In my junior year, I met June, who at the time was 19. We became fast friends. She was a very energetic, extroverted, and joyful person, much like myself. We loved theater and were both a little boy crazy and also bonded over our faith. She seemed to be close to God even though she had a lot of struggles in her life. We hung out all the time in and out of school. I should have noticed the early red flags, trash talking others, always having some sort of drama, but didn't, and I faced the consequences. My senior year of high school is when everything went to hell. I have several mental health problems, OCD, GAD, MDD, and they all came to a head that year. I would sit in classes mumbling to myself and crying because the thoughts in my head were so loud and distressing, and I couldn't get any help because no one knew what was going on. I was diagnosed later that year. I tried everything to make it better. I obsessed unhealthily with reading the Bible and praying, but instead of seeing God's love for me, all I could focus on were the thoughts that I was going to die young and that I didn't know where I was headed after death. I drowned myself in music. Didn't help. I tried vaping for the first time, which led to an addiction I am still battling today, but it didn't help. In any moment of peace, I would freak out because being anxious had become the norm. I was looking for anything to stop the thoughts and bring any relief. Then it hit me, more like the devil attacked, so freak him. If I want a distraction and to stop thinking, why not try sex? In comes John. John was an old friend who had come back into my life. I had attraction and he had attraction, so I suggested we hang out. I hate myself to this day for using a friendship to try and cope with my pain, but back to the story. As a young woman in a Christian school, it was drilled into my head that sex before marriage is a huge no-no, and I believed that. So when one thing led to another and I lost my V-card that night, I panicked. After a few others, I called a friend to help give me an excuse to leave his place and go home. I sobbed the entire way home, feeling dirty, a horrible friend, which at the moment I was, and just broken. The thoughts didn't go away. I ruined a friendship, and even more broken than before. Another one of the world solutions that just screwed me up more. I got home and broke down to my parents, who thought I was sleeping over with a friend, and told them everything, but I got off track a bit. Back to June. I messaged June before anyone to try and get help because I knew I just screwed up bad. I needed help, support, a kind word, but what I got instead was, paraphrased, this. L, what is wrong with you? Why the hell would you do that? Safe to say I didn't message back. The following months after that night were some of the hardest of my life. I started getting help for my mental health, but it was a hard road. I had a psychiatrist tell me that I should go sleep around more to find myself, prescribe me a medicine that caused my hair to fall out without a warning, and a misdiagnosis. But that wasn't near the worst of it. I get a text from my ex-boyfriend Tim. L, I can't believe you would do this. How could you betray me like this, etc. I was dumbfounded. I thought two things at once. We were broken up, so I didn't betray him, and that June definitely told him. I immediately called June and confronted her on why she went and told my ex about that night. Her response was simple and cold. He needed to know. I am a relatively kind person. But I saw red in that moment. I yelled back at her that it was none of his business to know because we weren't together, that I trusted her in my lowest moment, and all she did was berate me, like I didn't berate myself enough, and it was not her right to tell anyone my business, and she could not share my business with anyone else. She said okay, and I stupidly believed her. 2 weeks later, my mom comes into my room angrier than I have ever seen her. My sweet, joyful, funny, loves everyone mother was pissed. She told me that she just got a call from my ride or die to this very day best friend Ruth's mom just called her. She said that rumors were going around about me and that no matter what they would always love me and never see me differently. I called Ruth and finally told her everything that happened and then asked how she knew. She said that she had gone and gotten coffee with June and she alluded to everything. I said thank you to Ruth and hung up. I called June again and told her that I was done. She had betrayed my trust once before and I gave her a chance and she blew it. Our friendship expired. Member card revoked. She was no longer welcome in my life, and although I will be able to forgive her, I won't forget. I hung up, not wanting to hear anything more. Years have passed and I am still finding more and more people she has told, and at this point, I'm not surprised. I don't hide my mistake and I use it in my story about how God and medicine truly helped me out of that dark place. June tries almost every year to try and get me back in her life. She posts photos of us saying, "I miss my best friend," and other stuff like that, but I ignore it. I almost let her back in my life, but my true friend slapped some sense into me. June thinks I should have moved on from this incident since I am living a good life and have been brought out of the dark place I was in. She acts as if nothing ever happened. By no means am I a perfect person. I have hurt people in awful ways and still regret how I treated and used John every day. But I don't think that I should ever let June into my life again. So, am I the a-hole for cutting off one of my best friends after she betrayed me at my lowest moment? That is all for today's story. If you enjoy these, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment as it helps the channel continue to grow. That is all. Cheers.